you going? Daddy? Daddy!
The Layton series has always been one of my absolute favorite franchises for puzzle games. I've played every main installment to the point that Herschel and Luke almost feel like family. So when I heard about this new Layton game and that it was going to star a female detective, his daughter, I was immediately excited and intrigued. Already I had so many questions about who she was and where she came from, perfect for a game focused on solving mysteries. The Layton series doesn't shy away from crazy over-the-top stories, so I was ready to dive back into the gentlemanly and gentlewomanly world of London, England. This time around, we solve mysteries with the titular character Katrielle Layton and her love-struck assistant Ernest. We first meet Katrielle on the day she opens her detective agency and takes on her first case. She also happens to meet a mysterious new dog companion, Cheryl, as in Sherlock Holmes. Don't worry, the puns and silly jokes don't stop there. In fact, he joins the group before the office is even officially opened. But unfortunately, Kat completely disregards the mystery of this talking dog with amnesia, convinced he's not even a dog, and goes on to accept every other case she's presented with. These cases play out similarly to an episodic cartoon, with each one mostly being a self-contained mystery instead of the typical chapters of a single large narrative like past installments. The cases do occasionally intertwine with the characters mentioning things that have happened previously, and backgrounds showing different variations like the time of day or decoration changes, kind of like each case being a new day. There is a point in the game where Kat has gained some momentum and receives a batch of cases at once. From there, you're free to choose what order you want to solve them in. You can even pause one case and start on a new one if you like, but I enjoyed sticking to one at a time until each case was complete. After you complete this batch of cases, they go back to one at a time, and the overall narrative comes to a close. On your journey, you're presented with charming animations and dialogue scenes to build up the story surrounding the particular case you're working on. Then you're set loose to explore the world and find clues. You do this by moving a magnifying glass cursor around different locations and finding all kinds of things, including people you can talk to, party dialogue text about certain objects, hint coins to help with puzzles, fashion farthings, which we will get to in a moment, and hidden puzzles and collectibles. Most of the time you'll be talking with people and solving puzzles, the likes of which this series is famous for, though they do feel slightly easier to solve overall. But there were still a handful of times that I was completely stumped and I did need to use hint coins on the puzzles that could have used better instructions. Once you get a feel for the puzzle's cheeky, out-of-the-box mentality, it can be a lot of fun, and I found a couple of very enjoyable, almost mini-game-like puzzles. Finding the right solution can be an extremely gratifying and rewarding experience. There are a few ways to control the game, including full touchscreen capabilities when undocked, which is a very welcome feature. However, searching for clues using touch controls wasn't my favorite due to not being able to see the magnifying glass at all while sweeping the scene. My finger or stylus just kept getting in the way of what I wanted to precisely examine. I had to rely solely on audio cues, which isn't easy for those playing with low or no sound. For the majority of the time, I was using TV mode with the Pro Controller. However, the analog stick isn't great for jotting down notes during the puzzle sections. There are stamps which help with analog control, but if you want to write or draw with any accuracy or efficiency, touch controls and a stylus are your best bet. While unintuitive at first, using detached Joy-Cons and gyro controls is absolutely my preferred way to play. I say unintuitive because in order to activate the motion control, you need to hold down the ZR or ZL button, which I kind of forgot about until very late in the game. Since I enjoyed playing in TV mode, I just kept a sheet of paper and pencil with me, which worked well. Along with her own paper and pencil, Katrielle has a bag even Mary Poppins would approve of, with all sorts of goodies and extras. Here you can read up on what you've accomplished so far in the story, revisit clues of your cases, replay puzzles, check out extra daily puzzles, save, view collectibles, follow up on side stories, change Kat's outfit, and more. Fashion farthings are required to purchase new outfits, and her look can be changed at any time you can access her bag. I changed her look for each case and enjoyed seeing all the fun outfits and cosplay-type costumes calling back to staples like Luke, Layton, and Emmy, to name a few. Although I have to admit, dressing up as Herschel definitely made me miss him being around and hearing that lovely voice. Farthings can be found throughout the world and are awarded every real-world day. This is a nice bonus for those that play shorter sessions over the course of several days. True to Layton games, Katrielle's bag also offers up bonus games when you're ready to take a break from solving cases. These were quite fun for the most part, but I found the ideal meal minigame a bit lacking due to poor feedback from the customers. I was incredibly frustrated getting vague responses like, "It doesn't put me in a party mood." I was hoping for something a bit closer to the game Mastermind. It reminded me of the tea set minigame from Diabolical Box, but I much preferred that to the ideal meal. One other bonus not found in Katrielle's bag is the Feng Shui section of Kat's office. You can earn decor dockets by solving set amounts of puzzles and changing up the decor of the office while choosing which case to work on next. It only affects the game while you're in the office, but it's pretty fun to see your changes during dialogue scenes. Speaking of which, there are a lot of these scenes throughout your journey, and getting to see and know the characters is always a treat. Katrielle herself is quite a fun protagonist and is definitely a unique character rather than just a Herschel Layton clone. She is a smart, strong, spunky, self-assured, independent woman who incorporates intuition and logic to solve mysteries. I also loved how she turned her passion into a business and is actively trying to grow a dependable income source. I wasn't too sure about Ernest and Cheryl at first, but as I got to know them better, I quite enjoyed their banter and friendship. You'll also find many Layton staple characters have returned, along with several new faces. My personal favorite is the cutesy couple Bess and Benji, who surprisingly have a slightly larger presence than most NPCs, if you're willing to look into the extra dialogue. The characters' names are always a blast to discover. A few notables are Grant Sloans from the bank, Eddie Torr, the editor, and Cheryl O.C. Combs, the dog, from Barker Street, whose name gets quite the pun treatment. The sense of humor here is quite fun. Not only is it chock full of puns and dad jokes, but you can find funny references to real-world pop culture like Wallow from the post-apocalyptic Earth, Leonardo DiCaprio, and even a Taylor Swift song. I had a blast reading some of these, and it helped immerse me into Katrielle's world. I even learned a few things too, like how Big Ben is actually the bell and the structure itself is Elizabeth Tower, and that a lot of people mistake Tower Bridge for London Bridge. Yeah, including past me. So how does this typically handheld series hold up on the big screen? Quite well, with a lovely visual style with lots of vibrant colors and charming details, similar to an illustrated picture book. It fits right in with the existing Layton world, and some scenes are really pretty to behold. The music is also pleasant and never overtook the scenes or felt too repetitive. The new scores fit in well, with the opening song being my absolute favorite of the game, and the returning melodies gave me a cozy familiarity like visiting an old friend and picking right back up as if no time had passed. Level 5 has done a great job with making the world and characters feel fun and alive. However, I felt that the cases themselves were a bit shallow and easy to figure out. It just felt like the stakes were never that high or serious. Sometimes I welcomed this more casual approach, especially when I wasn't able to play for long amounts of time, but I did miss the more outlandish and grandiose stories of the past. It felt too easy to pick out who the culprit was, and in most cases, I figured it out before even getting to the midway point. These stories are definitely lighter and more of an everybody wins mentality. The final case did have me hooked and even got me a bit emotional, and served as an interesting but kinda left field conclusion. Overall, I liked Layton's mystery journey. Layton fans will feel right at home with familiar controls, characters, fun callbacks, and obvious love for the source material, but may not be completely happy with the simpler case style of gameplay. It's a fine way for newcomers to get into the series, as no prior knowledge of Layton is needed to enjoy the game. Compared to the grand adventure narratives of past Layton games, Katrielle and the Millionaires Conspiracy is more like a slice of life. It's fun and you enjoy the characters, but it never reaches the exciting heights of the older games. Still, all the puns and silly dad jokes were a blast and kept me smiling and laughing throughout, and due to its more bite-sized nature, it never felt overwhelming to keep track of things and is quite easy to jump right back in after taking a break and playing. Thanks to the extra content, you'll have plenty to do during and even after the main campaign. Completionists can rejoice thanks to a wonderfully easy way to check if everything has been collected or completed. While Katrielle's journey isn't as grand or deep as previous entries, and not all the questions I asked at the start of the game were addressed, I had an enjoyable time running around London solving cases with her and happily include this lighter jaunt with the rest of the Layton series. Welcome to the family, Katrielle. Thanks for watching, and be sure to subscribe to Game Explained for more on Layton and other things gaming.